Yeah, like I'm starting now. That was so good. Like I said, I understand why Fox didn't want to pay Buck and Troy starting what? Safety money? Like high-end safety money?
I would say before the wide receiver market got reset, it was top tier wide receiver money is what I know. That's what Aikman got.
And Fox is like, no. You just go on to ESPN because they need you.
They do.
Like Fox talks to the NFL just like ESPN talks to the NFL when it comes to these negotiations. And Fox knows good and well, if you're rolling out Mark Levy, Louis Riddick, and Booger, you're not getting the best games.
No, you're not. But as we sit here and as we're kicking off the show, the fact that we've got the first ever Amazon Prime Thursday night football game, it's interesting to see how they're putting this thing together. So now on the screen, they've got a team inside, I guess that will be considered like Booger and Randy and them when they're at the stadium. Steve Young, when those guys are in there. So they've got Andrew Whitworth, who won the Super Bowl, obviously, with the Rams last year.
Okay.
Taylor Rooks and Michael Smith, formerly of ESPN. I think he's got a show on Peacock.
Talking about like Michael Smith from the Six?
Yes, that Michael Smith.
So who's going to tell me about football in the way that I want to hear it? Whitworth?
They're waiting. Kirk Herbstreak and Al Michaels. The guy's actually calling the game.
I like having Whitworth on there because I listened to Chris Long a lot. And he has his brother Kyle on now, and he has I think his name is Bo Nix or Bo something. He was a D lineman, and they talk trench play because when do we get good trench play breakdowns on TV or even on your popular podcast?
We don't, but at the same time, how many people that are O-linemen that are really calling stuff? I know we talked about Schler.
That's about it.
And he's and obviously he used to be on ESPN and would be on the shows, and he'd do the car wash back then too.
Yeah.
But you don't have very many offensive line because they're not recognizable guys. Like I remember, I think they were trying to get Joe Thomas to do something.
I think he's on the NFL Network or really? Fox. Maybe he calls games for Fox.
Well, and he might have just started because I know originally when he retired, they were like, yeah, he'd be really good on TV. But
how he and Brandon Marshall, right? And he's obviously much better than Brandon Marshall. But once the playoffs start, why are you on my TV? What are you going to tell me about playoff football? If I want to hear somebody who's never played playoff football talk about playoff football, give me Nick Wright or Cowherd or Stephen A. or Skip. Somebody who's at least going to pull something out of their ass that's hilarious.
Right. Well, and have this I never played the game opinion as opposed to a guy that did play it but couldn't make it.
It's like, hey, man, you should have used a little of your player empowerment and demanded your way out. That's
pretty tough, man, to go your whole NFL career and be a Pro Bowler like that and never play in the playoffs. Even a guy like Barry Sanders played in the playoffs. Like, the Lions made the playoffs with Barry Sanders. So, like, you got to be pretty fucking bad to have a 10-plus year career and never sniff the playoffs. Like,
you remember who he played for, right?
Who?
The Cleveland Elves.
Good Thomas, yeah.
Yeah, the Cleveland Elves.
Yeah. Well, now they're the Cleveland Elves. Funny story about him. I remember when he got drafted.
Did you want him to come to Atlanta?
No, I just remember what it was is when he got. Well, what was that? That was like 2007.
I think so. Yeah, 2007.
It's like, I don't get it. This guy JP always calls me, and he knows goddamn well what I'm doing at this time of day.
Bro, people have no respect for the show. I have a friend, Kyle. Anytime I record weekday by myself, he calls right before I get ready to press the button record. Sometimes we talk, sometimes we don't. But it's like, dude, it's podcast day.
Right. Well, that's the thing. It's like, and JP knows that. I mean, he knows. He literally knows. I'm like,
he used to be on the show.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like you know exactly what I'm doing, and I don't get it. But nonetheless, no, it's kind of crazy that they're kind of the way that they threw together this Amazon Prime Thursday Night Football thing. Like when you really look at it, a lot of these guys, obviously, there's like no chemistry whatsoever. Like, in which
none at all.
It doesn't have to be, but it's so different. It's on Amazon, which is odd in itself because the thought is, it's like, how many subscriptions is Jeff Bezos getting from this? Because people want to be able to watch football on Thursday. Now, the thought would be that you already have Amazon Prime because if you buy anything off Amazon, it just makes sense. Or watch the TV show. Like, it just makes sense. I mean, you get the TV, you get discount, you get free. It's 2-day shipping always. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it makes a lot of sense to already have it. But how many NFL fans that didn't have Amazon Prime are actually going to spend I think, $12.99 a month to get football on Thursdays now that it's not? And I don't think it's split with NFL Network at all, unlike it was with Fox and NFL Network last season.
Think about how many people spent money just to get DirecTV so they could have the NFL package. You know, like I've heard countless stories of I only have DirecTV just so that I can have the NFL package. And I'm like, yeah, I'm rocking with NFL Plus so I can just rewatch the games later because can you really watch a game when you're watching 8 games at a time? You don't know what's going on there. There's no way you can keep up with all those games and actually pull out some analysis. And then who are you listening to? You know, got that 1 o'clock window. I guess I listen to Sanchez and whoever he rocks with. A little Moose Johnson action.
Yeah, Moose. You know what the crazy thing? So look at this. Okay, because I take it you don't have another screen up, do you?
I don't. I'm gonna pull the game up on my phone in a second.
So interestingly enough, so Richard Sherman just left from, or maybe this was earlier, but they're just showing it. So Richard Sherman is literally, as Derwin James is coming into the locker room, he's like interviewing him as he's walking in. So you know how like when the players show up, like they're showing him interviewing him as they're walking to the locker room, and he's like asking him.
Sounds like they're.
What are they going to do to stop the Chiefs? And he's like, it's a bunch of all pro football players and shit like that.
When are we going to get away from getting these nothing interviews?
Well, this is the thing. I think what makes this unique is the fact that literally all the players are like walking in, but he's having this fucking like casual conversation as they're going into the stadium. So I don't know. They're doing stuff a little different. How much, I mean, outside of the money aspect, what do you think Jeff Bezos' role in this is? Do you think he has any hands on this, like at all?
I think he's financing, waiting for the whole thing to shake down in Washington so that then he can become a power broker in the league. I think Goodell's tired of Crafty and Jerry. He wants some different money in there, some different influence. Because, Bezos is like, hey, get in line or those packages show up a little bit slower.
Well, more importantly, those guys are old as hell. I'm not saying they're going to die soon, but, like, they're old. Like, them dudes are, like, in their late 80s, mid 80s. Like, they only got but so much longer. What, Bezos is Bezos even 60? Probably not. He's probably in his, like, late 50s.
Let's ask Siri. How old is Jeff Bezos?
58.
How old is Jeff Bezos? 58.
Wow, I hit it. I didn't even look it up. I swear, I hit it right on there. Because I was like, he's got to be like in his late 50s.
Can you hear it? Can you hear anything in the background?
Of yours? No.
Yeah. Perfect. Good, terrible microphone. But yeah, I think
back there.
My mom.
Oh. Hi, Mom.
You said hi. Mom says hi. Yeah, everyone says hi. Anyways, I was going to open up with a rant about the preseason, but I'm just going to table it for today, I don't feel – I didn't write it out, and I don't like ranting when I don't like at least write it out one good time.
Yeah. Oh, and breaking news here: J.C. Jackson will be playing tonight. So I know that was like
hey.
He is playing tonight.
All right, so let's open up with Falcons first, and then we'll preview the Thursday game, and then we'll get into the rest of the week.
Okay.
All right, so where are we at?
We are at the Falcons.
Are all here to do what Falcons do. Look at that.
So, Falcons first. Let me talk about the Falcons first, okay? So if you watch the game, you notice that the Falcons pretty much led most of the game. The Benz was rocking and rolling. I mean, we had home field advantage for the first time in a while.
I would say it was honestly 60-40.
60-40.
And considering that this is the game where we typically get drowned out.
Yeah.
But you know what? We always, the past few seasons, we have been playing them at the end of the year typically.
Yeah.
And our season was always over.
I think we should home open against the Saints every other year. Like the way the NFL did the schedule this year, a lot of games that people cared about week one, I like that. Let's get division games going early. But, the Falcons lost the way the Falcons do. And many of us thought, Dan leaving would change some things. Many of us thought, Julio leaving, Matt Ryan finally leaving, the tides of the team would change. But there's one significant individual who's involved with football decisions who's still with the franchise. And that man's name is Rich McKay. You've heard of the curse of the babe. You've heard of the Chicago curse, whatever that curse was. But let me tell you about the curse of McKay. Rich McKay has come to the Atlanta Falcons, and he's cursed our franchise. He put together a Super Bowl team in Tampa Bay, our rivals. He comes to us, supposed to turn our fortunes around. He works in football for a while. Then he goes to the operations side. Now he's supposed to be the president of operations. But can you really take a former GM who hires a rookie GM and think that former GM is not going to influence football?
Who also hires a rookie head coach. Just everything about the football side of it was.
It's the curse of McKay. Rich McKay is like Jerry Jones. He just doesn't draft well or own the team. He can't not run the program. And it's time for McKay to go. We'll never break this curse.
Well, I think that with Arthur Blank having such a close relationship clearly to him, because you would have thought that Rich would have been fired.
Asked to step down.
Yeah, and I guess I wasn't ridiculously mad because, obviously once they hired Thomas Dimitroff for him, the biggest thing was, okay, they've got TD, but, we're going to keep Rich here as the president, whatever that means. And it's like, okay, get Mike Smith, good things happen. So, of course, when good things happen, what happens, Lee? People keep their jobs when good things happen. You know what I mean?
Except for Jared Goff.
Then shit kind of hits the fan, and then you're like, it's not really the GM. I mean, you got Matt Ryan, you got Julio Jones. We got somebody is holding this team back. It's the coach. It's him. All right, let's get another coach in. Proves to be semi-right. He might have taken them as far as they could have went. Then you bring DQ in. You start 5-0, but you somehow finish 8-8. And then it's like, okay, that's the most Falcon shit ever, too. Just going 3-8 the rest of the season after. I don't know how many teams have started 5-0 and not made the playoffs.
That's some Cliff Kingsbury type shit.
Yeah, it was pretty weird. But then you bounce back the next season. You have one of the best offense of all time. You go to the Super Bowl. You get to the highest point in Falcons history about 2 minutes into the third quarter. You're up 25 points against the evil empire, the greatest quarterback in NFL history, the greatest coach in NFL history. For all intents and purposes, the greatest dynasty in NFL history. And you have a chance to somewhat maybe even shut it down. you blow the lead. You go to the first overtime in Super Bowl history. You lose. You bounce back the next season. You make the playoffs. You'll win a playoff game on the road.
People forget that.
They do, and we beat the Rams pretty handily. I mean, we beat them by 11 points. So
didn't you and Josh Holsey go to that game?
Yeah, Josh Holsey was with me at that game. Yes,
we
were at screw Josh. Well, the funny thing was, I think that he ended up getting deployed like the very next week.
Yeah, he did because he didn't go to watch the Falcons Philly game with me the next week.
Yeah,
I had to watch in the bar by myself and get laughed out of there.
Ouch. Well, hey, you're better than me. My ass was actually at the stadium, freezing my ass off.
I remember
by myself. I didn't have it. Nobody came with me to the game, and some of those stories are true about Philly. I ran into some nice Philly fans, but there was a lot of barking going on. You know what I mean? So I had to deal with that. But fast forward past that, lose that game, they go on to actually win the Super Bowl and finish the deal. Now you don't make the playoffs. Now you get rid of Dan Quinn gets gotten rid of because he kept blowing leads. Matt Ryan's gotten rid of because you were trying to get a different person to be your quarterback, and in reality, he didn't like that, and he does want to win anyways. And he's like, okay, well, thanks, guys, for actually giving me a legitimate reason to leave.
Yeah.
Like, basically, because I wasn't gonna leave, but like now you've given me a reason I don't want to be here.
And you know what? I think the fan base got what they wanted Sunday. Marcus Mariota was Marcus Mariota. He was decent, showed flashes of what we like, but just wasn't who we needed him to be in the clutch, right? You see this capability, you love it. You love this capability.
It was so disappointing, though, because when you actually look back at the game, yes, you could get on Dean Pease for kind of having a lax defense there in the fourth quarter. But obviously, I mean, it is what it is. Marcus Mariota's fumble, he had already gotten the first down. He could have slid. There was a lot of stuff he could have did. He fumbled the ball. That was points. That was automatic points because Koo wasn't missing no field goal. And really, the way that your offense had been going, you were probably going to score a touchdown anyways. You start talking about you were up 16, could have went up 23. That would have ended the game.
End of the game.
They weren't coming back from that.
They were loading the Greyhounds.
Yes. Yes.
And
they turned the showers on so that they were already hot when they got in.
I'm telling you. And then I think one that gets missed is the Drake London drop. It was a poorly placed ball. You expect Drake to catch it, but if he puts the ball where it needs to be, that's a first down.
I'll give you another one, though. The other Marcus Mariota fumble. He didn't lose this one, but the last drive of the game, before the Saints get the ball back to kick that field goal, you're about on like the 37, 38-yard line. You got the ball. You 3rd and 1. He botches the snap. He, regains it, but he doesn't botch that snap. You probably get the first down, but okay, botches it. But he gets it back to the line of scrimmage. Great. 4th and 1. Now it's all on you, Arthur Smith. Why not end this game? They had no more timeouts. You were giving them the ball back. You knew goddamn well that if you gave them the ball back, the way that game had been trending, they had just scored 2 touchdowns on you. They were going to get enough yards to kick a field goal. You knew that. And so I get it. You had the timeouts, but even if you trust your defense enough, at that point, trust them at the fucking 38 then and hold them to a field goal.
Well, if you trust your defense enough, that's when you start being a head coach, right? And not just a play caller because you're an offensive guy. You get in Dean Pease's ear and you say, hey, Dean, you've been heating them up all game, and Jameis has been uncomfortable. I'd rather us go down swinging, heating them up, instead of letting Jameis carve us up and look like he did at Florida State, waiting on some crab legs after the game. You know what I mean? He grabbed us by our pussies. He grabbed Jameis grabbed Dean Pease by his pussy because of that play call he was doing out there.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Marcus Mariota, he pays for his crab legs.
Absolutely.
He pays for his. But all in all, if we have to give the Falcons a grade on this first game, of course the fourth quarter gets an F+, but really F-, basically. it gets an F- for me. But I think
F plus just sounds so much worse.
I'm going to be honest with you. They would have gotten overall game. Let's say Younghoe Koo makes that field goal and they hold on to win. They would have gotten about an A- performance from me. Honestly, I thought that they looked good on defense for pretty much the majority of the game.
We had a pass rush, a consistent pass rush.
Grady Jarrett was active. He was active. I liked what I saw out of not J.C. Jackson, Casey Hayward and A.J. Terrell really until the fourth quarter. I think Jameis Winston had like 58 yards passing through the first 3 quarters. They looked great, but that was kind of what we expected for the defensive backs and mainly the corner group to probably be the best unit on the team because you've got a former Pro Bowler, a guy that just made a Pro Bowl like 2 years ago, and then you've got arguably a top 5 corner in the league on the other side. So,
and can I have a little conversation about A.J. Terrell versus Mike Thomas?
Go for it.
All right. We talk about Mike Thomas being slant boy. We never said Michael Thomas is a bad receiver, Josh Holsey.
He's just a one-trick pony.
We said he's limited. And he's a limited receiver, which is still true. But Michael Thomas on A.J. Terrell, that's just the A.J. Terrell nightmare. Michael Thomas, big physical receiver. He's not going to outrun you. He's just going to get to the spot. If his hand touches the ball, he doesn't drop it. And you saw on the 2 touchdowns at the end, the coverage wasn't bad. It was just what Michael Thomas does. He boxes you out. He uses his body. He uses his length. And
James threw the ball.
Yeah.
James threw the ball to where only he could catch it.
Exactly. But, people don't watch games. They watch highlights. They don't provide any nuance.
Well, they don't listen to the commentators either.
Huh?
I said they clearly don't listen to the commentators either.
Well, no, because, talking about,
John Gruden's better than Joe Buck.
Pete 1, Russ 0. Let's just get to the Monday Night Football game. Instead of opening up the game with the actual game itself and the many things from that game we can talk about, I want to talk about Monday Night Football returning to glory. The first time I've heard a Monday night game telecast in years. I mean, what? When did Madden leave Monday Night Football?
Well, remember they left and went to Sunday night, so probably like 06, 05. Cause okay, so they left when Monday Night Football left ABC.
It went to ESPN.
And when it went to ESPN is when it was like Kornheiser, Tirico, Gruden. Yeah. I think it might have been Gruden. No, it wasn't even Gruden. I don't know if it was even that 3. But Kornheiser was one of the first people.
Hey, let's focus on the beautiful watching experience we had, the audio orgasm that we received from Troy Aikman and Joe Buck.
They're the best. They're the best duo.
Since Madden and Summerall.
Yes, I would agree. I mean, I like Madden and Al too. and I know that Madden was towards the end there, and I mean Al's now, I guess, finally towards the end of his kind of.
I'm ready to hear Al and Herb Street. I feel like it's gonna suck.
They just showed them on the screen together. I wasn't, I got it down low, and we're doing the cast, but I don't know. I'm curious because we're talking about the guy that led Sunday Night Football, and now you're talking about your Saturday Night Football guy colliding on a Thursday night for an NFL game.
And there's a huge age gap. There's the age gap. There's no chemistry. Like
I think that there's 2 guys that know the game, though.
Right. Back to Troy and Joe. It was beautiful.
Don't they seem like they're both? And I get it. Herb Street's not really a play-by-play guy, I guess. He is the color commentator while Al's the play-by-play.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. But get back to Troy.
Most streamed Monday Night Football game in years.
Since 2009, right?
I think so. And does that have a lot to do with Russ versus Pete Carroll? Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you people don't think that there were some of us who were excited to hear Troy and Joe in a standalone game, no distractions, No other beat.
ESPN too to watch Peyton Manning talk to fucking Shannon Sharp.
Bro, I forgot the Manning cast was on, and I'm sitting there talking to the wife, and I'm like, "You hear how Troy's breaking this down?" And she's like, "Yeah, a lot of these guys aren't good. I like him." And my wife is not by no means is she like a diehard fan, and she just started paying attention to commentary when we started dating because I regularly can complain about commentary because the NBA still hasn't figured out who they want to call games that's worth a damn. But
I mean, the Breen team is good.
Yeah, Breen is good, and Gundy's good.
Yeah,
and that disgraced head coach.
But you need Mark Jackson to give you your one-liners. Your mama, there goes that man. You know, you need that. You need that in the telecast. It's his signature call, just like Breen's is bang. You know?
Or here we go. If you leave Steph Curry open, he will drain the three. Thanks. You made me so much smarter than Mark Jackson.
It's like, goddamn, Mark, we didn't know that. It's like so insightful.
If you foul a man while he's shooting,
he's gonna get to the free throw line. And 9 times out of 10, if he's a 90% free throw shooter, he's gonna make it.
Right. But it was nice to see them back. But let's get to the game. Geno came out hot. Russ sucked.
I don't think he sucked. I think that's an over-exaggeration. I think he looked like a guy that didn't
know the offense.
Didn't have chemistry yet with any of them. I guess him and Jerry Jeudy, to a degree, kind of picked up on it a little late. I know that Jerry Jeudy got a lot of his yards on that touchdown that could have almost been
terrible throw.
He caught it and he took it to the house. I mean,
shout out to
you Jerry Jeudy the credit for the yak, but like he still caught it, still went to the house. I think another reason why Russ didn't look good is because Nate Hackett didn't let him cook. He basically kind of did what Pete did. And obviously it was apparent, of course, with the last play of the game. But at the same time, I just look at even the red zone stuff with the 2 fumbles. Now, look, I'm not mad at them running the football because Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon, I thought both were running really hard. And they looked good. Like Javonte Williams looked so much better than like I thought he was. I was like, man, he runs hard. Like,
yeah, made me happy.
He actually totes that rock, kind of. Like, you know what I mean? Like, cause you know when some guys get it, they like there's people like Le'Veon Bell that are like patient runners, right, or whatever, and then that's how they get theirs. No, man, this guy has a full head of steam. Once he catches it and he's cutting up, man, he's fucking going.
Somebody drafted him in our fantasy draft and had a good showing this week. But no, Nate didn't let Russ cook. And I remember y'all talking shit about me drafting Javonte Williams. And I told y'all Nate wasn't going to let Russ cook. And when Russ came out during the summer and said that there's a partnership between him and Nate Hackett in the offense, no, it's not, Russ. It's not a partnership. You are his employee. You could tell from the play calls, Russ doesn't run, even when he's in trouble. Russ doesn't throw the ball to the receivers. He dumps it down. And guess what? On that final drive, y'all were driving to get to the 46 left hash. You got there instead of trying to get into manageable field goal range or scoring a touchdown and sticking the knife through their throat. Because guess what? Nobody likes Russ's cooking but himself. And if you're the only person who likes your own cooking, huh?
I'm sure that Sierra likes his cooking too.
Well, you know what? That's his wife. She barely has a choice. If people don't like your cooking, that usually means that you can't cook.
Well,
enough said. Mic drop.
I think that even if he had a lot of help from other chefs in the kitchen, he still was one of the head chefs of that Super Bowl. So I look, Russ has been a consistent player his entire career. Even at the beginning when he wasn't the reason they were winning.
Agreed.
I'll tell you, and it's so crazy. I gained so much respect for Russ when we played them his rookie year. He was torching the fucking Falcons in that divisional game. Like, that was a game that he actually looked very fucking good. Like, he looked great. And
I lost so much respect for Russ when he kept saying, go Hawks. But if he wanted to be traded, it would be these 4 teams. No trade clause.
Hey, well, look. think about it. If it comes out that Pete's shopping you and that the Browns are interested and they're willing to trade Baker Mayfield to get him, or
Baker Mayfield pick. No, they weren't going to draft Baker. They were going to draft Josh Allen.
That would have been a hell of a
Yeah. Seattle would have won that trade.
I mean, but who knows? By the time he got to Cleveland, with the moves that were kind of already made that were on the horizon. I mean, I'm not saying that Russ and Cleveland wins a Super Bowl, but I mean, Cleveland made the wrong move all the way around.
Well, yeah, they drafted Baker.
They could have traded it and got Russ, but because they didn't trade it, they drafted Baker. So it really just Cleveland.
Whose team is John Dorsey running today? Exactly. Nobody's.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, he's not even a retread. Like, Ryan Pace is like an assistant GM for the Falcons, right?
Yeah, I want him. I need him out the building too. Come on, man.
This goes back to the curse of the McKay too. Now, I mean, not to be jumping segments back and forth and rewinding, but at the same time, that's exactly what that was.
Are all here to do what Falcons do. Look at that.
That's exactly what that is, though. That's them, doing that dumb shit. They did it with Dimitrov, too, when they bought Pioli, and it was just like, so let me get this straight. We've got 3 general managers, and we still can't draft a fucking decent offensive lineman, man. Like, what's the problem? Like,
can we generate a pass rush against a decent offensive line? No.
Can we run the fucking ball? I mean...
Can we get Julio in the end zone?
Right. I don't know.
Hey, man, let's go to Lee's Ledge real quick. We're going to get back to Pete and Russ, though.
Go for it.
Michael Lombardi talks about when he picks teams, he looks at the coordinator matchup. And if that's like, if you got an offensive head coach, he looks at like Kyle Shanahan as the coordinator, right? And if you're looking at like Seattle, he's looking at Pete Carroll as the defensive coordinator, right? Russ left a better supporting cast in Seattle than he inherited in Denver. I like DK Metcalf. I like Tyler Lockett. Rashad Penny looked good. Looks like Pete drafted some pretty good linemen this year. I'll take Pete Carroll 368 days a year over Nathaniel can't hack it.
Well, one thing's for sure, at least based off week 1, he definitely went to a tougher division too.
A tougher division and a lesser team.
Tougher division, tougher conference as well.
And only to be put in the same place that he was in. Hey, coach, what do I do? Hey, coach, I want to run this play. No. Take your helmet off, put your hat on. We're going to kick a 64-yarder from a guy who's never made a kick this deep. Sorry, Russ.
This would be a career long for him. This is what I'll say. Tim Patrick, I know that he was probably scheduled to be wide receiver 3, but Tim Patrick was a big pickup for them. They lost him early in the year. Thought he was going to be a really nice addition with Sutton and Judy, and then Hamler's okay too. Like they got. Put it this way: there's more depth for pass catchers for Russ, and then that guy.
But you got to actually pass it to the pass catchers and not your tight ends and running back. Javonte Williams
better. His running backs are better. That guy Boone was started off really hot in the game. Yeah. He looked really good. Matter of fact, curious if anyone picked him up. But nonetheless, I think that Russ could have played better
a lot
overall,
better.
But I don't believe that this was on him. I think it's solely on Nate Hackett. And, of course, I mean, look, both running backs fumbled. It wasn't like it was one guy. And like I said, I questioned some of that play call in there, too, in the red zone. I think that it could have been a lot better. I was sitting there just screaming for my fucking life. I mean, and it's not, there is a biasness towards it because Russell Wilson is my quarterback, and I did want those 6 points if he just quarterback sneaks it. Why the fuck aren't you quarterback sneaking it? I don't want to hear 250 million reasons, okay? Because Tom Brady's ass has fucking perfected the quarterback sneak. We don't see his, and he's old as fuck too to go along with it.
Because Russ said that's not what he does.
Man,
he's a pocket pass like Peyton Manning.
Russ could have set up a bootleg, which they kind of did on one play, and it looked like he was going to do it. But then he tried to thread the needle, and the tight end just stepped out of bounds on that play. But that's what I would have been running. I would have been running a bootleg. It reminded me kind of the Super Bowl when they lost. You know what I'm saying? Like,
what if Russ pulled a Big Ben and said, "Hey, pocket only"?
Jeff Bezos set the game. No surprise. Jeff Bezos set the game.
Yeah, absolutely. It's his first game. Hey, did you hear Pete's comments on Brock Heward's podcast?
No, what did he say?
Let me see if I can actually find it because he let you know how he felt about Russ. Huh?
It's Brock Heward's podcast.
Yeah, or Damian Heward, one of the Hewards. Yeah, it was let's see. We're gonna pull a little something. We're gonna pull a little something from my guy.
Sports podcast, Brock Heward and Mark. Sorry about.
Thanks, McAfee.
All of the reasons that come along with this one. Maybe as much as anything is representing the guys that have played before. It meant a lot to those guys. And I was so thrilled to be able to hug those guys up and see them and look them in the eye. And,
Why did it mean so much to them?
Yeah, you figured that out.
Figured that out.
But it was really meaningful, and they really wanted it. And I knew we were playing for a lot more than just the regular stuff. And we have we have a real connection with the history of and the legend. Do we have a legends group that those guys?
He said it was for the guys who was here first, the guys who believed in the 12, the guys, the Legion of Boom. Sherm had something to say on Twitter. His old receiver, I can't even think of his name. Golly, what's his name?
Not Doug Baldwin.
Doug Baldwin had something to say. I didn't see him and Pete talk before the game, and maybe they did after the game. Didn't see that either. He got booed like he deserved to be booed.
Did Golden Tate say anything? we all know what Golden Tate's infamous for, rumored at least.
Right.
For why he went to Detroit out of nowhere. But
hey, look.
Well, it ended up working out. If that is true, it worked out great for us. So,
right, but everything is what it is, right? Like Pete doesn't have much good to say about him. The Seattle Seahawks, they looked like the old school Seahawks. They were flying around, physical football. You could hear the hits coming off the screen. But Russ, just like Channing Crowder said, he's just a cornball. In the words of my guy Rob Parker. It's just a cornball brother.
Look, I can't speak for what Russ is. This is what I do know. I know he's got a bad wife. He's a rich motherfucker. He does the right thing based on what we see, at least it appears. He visits children's hospital. He seems to do a lot of volunteer work.
Yeah, and he also, turns his back on his team.
Corny. I don't know how he is in the locker room. You know what I mean? But you know what? There's always room for one corny nigga. There is always room for that. Because it's like, he's the corny nigga. Like, what I mean? Room. That don't mean he's not cool just because he's corny. Like,
but he doesn't get to be the face.
Yes, that's true. That typically isn't the case with that type of guy. But I mean, look, Russ does all the right things. Tony G still dunking the ball. He put on his Chiefs jersey before the game, and Fitzpatrick threw him a touchdown, and he's still up there. He can still dunk it, man.
He's 6'5", I hope so.
Man, he looks good. He looks like he could still play. But I'll leave that at that. He looks like he could still play.
You want to talk about another diva quarterback?
Which one? Show me what you got, Raji. Right.
Anybody from the Yes. Anybody come to see you, Otis?
BJ Raji instead, right? But he did the dance, the championship belt, and then he,
We're gonna see some discount double check this weekend.
Okay, and Fitz Austin quiet game against the Raiders with 36 rushing yards. How many does he have tonight?
It's the Bears.
Yeah. There's Sunday night. See, I thought you were talking about Falcons-Rams. We are playing the champs.
Going to come on the ground. I think he'll be around that 30, 35.
I have no expectations for us this week. I think we get our ass kicked.
Travis Kelce scored the team's first touchdown of the season last Sunday. Tony,
but
end zone again tonight.
Tough week for Aaron Rodgers, my guy. Offense was pretty bad. Throw the deep ball, top of the game, not caught, goes to receiver for the rest of the game. Gets one more pass in the fourth quarter, and the game's out of reach. When asked about Jahan Dotson, I think, saying he's returning last year, he was like, yeah, he's back this year.
Yeah.
He's back on the team. Aaron was Aaron, and I'm an Aaron fan, so I'm just really bothered by Aaron being Aaron. So I just think the Packers need to run the ball more, but obviously you compared him to somebody that I think everybody could agree with.
Well, I just think that now with the state that he's in, it's Aaron Rodgers and the Temptations. I think I forgot the rookie who it was, but basically he had a touchdown. He could have walked in the end zone, right? He drops a wide open pass. Look, this guy's first pro game. Now it doesn't excuse it, but at the same time, it's like, well, it was a fucking rookie at the end of the day. But that's what he's got to work with at this point. I get it. No Alan Lazard. Like, I totally get it. Hell, we know last year they got beat 38-3 in the season opener, and they still won 13 games. I don't think that that's in their future this year.
Now, Carissa, you and I both know.
Okay, you got the game on too. I'm like, I can hear it. I'm like, what the hell is that?
But this season,
yeah, it's one of those things where he's gonna have to get over it. But I don't think that they really used the running game the way that they should have either. I mean, we didn't watch the game, but looking back at the stat line and 7 points. Come on.
Yeah. Like I caught some of the game because I was downstairs while it was on. I remember because I went back to your place. It's week one. I think Matt LaFleur is not as good as we think he is, or as his record says he is. But I think they'll figure it out. I still think they win the division. I think it's going to be closer than usual. But I think he comes out and kicks ass this week.
Oh, for sure. Well, they have to against Chicago, I
think they're like 10-point favorites, too.
Yeah. 3?
10.
Oh.
That line's nasty.
That sounds about right. Because think about it. If Green Bay had won this past week and Chicago had lost, they would really be a 2-touchdown favorite.
Yeah. But, speaking of losers, you want to hear some of Lee's losers?
Go for it. Let's hear Lee's losers.
All right. Stop me. Stop me if you want to hit one. Falcons fans, along with Rotini.
He might be the biggest loser of the week.
He might be. No.
No, really, the Falcons are. The Falcons as an organization are.
We got Russell Wilson.
Okay.
Power 5 teams who scheduled the Sun Belt.
No Nate Hackett.
I'm getting there.
Okay.
Brett Favre in the Mississippi welfare system.
Uh-huh.
Rest in the preseason.
Uh-huh.
Kickers.
Uh-huh.
Scott Frost.
Uh-huh. Oh, boy, he's been this guy. It's sad that it actually sucks he got fired. So he kind of almost is a winner this week because he got $15 million.
Yeah, I would have waited till October 1.
But he's had a very long streak of being on this list. He has to. He's a loser almost every week in my book. Except honestly this week. He got $15 million.
Adrian Peterson.
Yes.
Our NFL Week 1 bets.
Oh, boy. 1 and 5.
Robert Sarver.
Okay.
Dallas Cowboys. Nathaniel Hackett. And the last one, AR-15, Anthony Richardson.
Oh, yeah. I got one more to add on there as a bonus.
Go ahead.
You left off the KKK in Arizona. They got fucking blown out at home. I'm sorry, that's inexcusable. I don't care who you played. You don't lose by 3 touchdowns at home in the season opener, and you're a playoff team.
How ironic is it that Robert Sarver gets exposed for being a racist and the KKK gets run out of Arizona?
Oh well, and just think about it. They paid what did Kyler get? $240 or something like that. $230.
230.5.
I know they're going to be excited to see that, years to come.
And for those of you who don't remember, the KKK is Kyler, Cliff, and Steve Keim.
not the Ku Klux Klan guys. I promise.
God, no, we would never, ever, whatever.
They're losers too, but
yeah, but they don't deserve our words. I think we're going to look back and NFL agents are going to become losers. NFL agents who represent quarterbacks are going to become losers because the way Lamar Jackson's handling this negotiation, where people are calling him crazy for turning down 130 guaranteed. But if he plays out this year and he gets franchised the next 2 seasons, he's going to make between 110 and 125. And 133 guaranteed is less than Kyler, less than Aaron Rodgers. Shit, Aaron got 3 for 150. Why would he take less than guarantees as a better than Kyler and younger than Aaron quarterback? I'm like, if you franchise me twice, I'm still going to get between 110 and 125. Yeah. I didn't leave money on the table like you pundits who are fed information by agents said so.
Well, and I think when it comes to the Lamar situation, right? Lamar said he didn't want to talk about it. Right.
Want to talk about it.
But do you blame him? He comes out. Now, grants the Jets 3 touchdowns, 280 on the passing. I don't even know how many rushing. I don't think he really ran the ball like that.
He didn't.
You would know.
All touchdowns, balls in the air, 15 plus yards, like no gimmies.
Yeah, Duvernay, guys like that were getting involved. And it was the Jets, but it's still a road game. And to win in the road in the NFL is always hard.
Absolutely.
And so, especially week 1 when anything can happen.
Especially as Robert Salah and Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco, the guy whose job you took.
Yeah, that's personal.
Yeah. He's bounced around a little bit, and you're still there, and so is John Harbaugh. So who made the right decision, But
hey, while we're here, Chiefs Chargers. Before the game kicks off, what we thinking? How we feeling?
Well, I've already got a bet in, and
okay.
I changed my tune. J.C. Jackson, at first, I knew that they said he was questionable. I know that Keenan Allen is out. My analysis as a whole, they barely beat the Raiders at home.
And Derek Carr looked like Derek Carr, boy. Let me tell you.
And what it is Kansas City came out, and Patrick Mahomes without Tyreek Hill was the complete opposite of Aaron Rodgers without Devontae Adams. He looked phenomenal. He spread the ball out, threw 5 touchdown passes. They scored 40 points against a playoff team. And they were on the road. So they're at home. We know that similar to Seattle, and this is a home opener for them. So similar to Seattle, they've got one of the best crowds in the NFL. At first, I was going to go Chargers plus 4.5. I really had kind of liked the Chargers on the cover because here's the thought. If you like the Chargers to win this division, this is kind of one of those games that they make a statement saying, no, this is our division this year. And their defense did get better. J.C. Jackson's going to play, but clearly if he was a game-time decision, it's still bothering him, and that could become an issue within the game. But all in all, I went on ahead because I do have them in a parlay for tonight. All in all, I've got Kansas City winning the game by 3, even though they've got a questionable kicking game tonight too because Bucker's out.
Yeah, they got the Jets' old kicker.
Yeah, well, and anything that comes from New York is trash, except Geno these days.
But,
I'm serious. Look, they tried to write him off, but he ain't right back. And mic drop. That was one of the coldest bars I've ever heard from a player.
So you're telling me he pulled a Brian Kelly?
Yeah.
Hey, Patrick Mahomes did last week what I didn't think he would do, and I don't know if he's going to do it all season. He took the cheese. He took the cheese all game. And for those of you who don't know what it means to take the cheese, it's he took what was available for him underneath. He didn't force the ball over the top. And maybe some of his over-the-top success was forced by the fact that he had a Tyreek Hill on his team, and along the way, he could have just cut you up with 1,000 paper cuts like Tom Brady, but his personnel said otherwise. So I could be wrong. I'm okay saying I'm wrong, Josh Holsey. Sometimes you throw something out there, and people change. Just like when we get new information, our takes change. But I think it's going to be a good game. I would go Chargers. You said +4, +4.5.
So I bought the 1.5. I took a -2.5. I got him by a field goal.
I would take the Chargers here.
Okay.
But I think Kansas City wins. I wouldn't go money line. I think Kansas City wins.
So I'm the complete opposite of you. I think the Chargers are low-key going to win because I feel like I said, I have them winning the division. This is really a game that they kind of need to win, like in a sense of they don't have to win it, but like they kind of do have to win. Like they kind of really, because first of all, think about this. We could already see through week one, and I know we don't want to overreact to week one, but it appears that Denver's going to be the worst team in the division, which we predicted. We both
absolutely
Denver was going to be in last place. But if you're the Chargers, you could start the season off by beating the Raiders and the Chiefs, and you'll already have the win over them on the road. This is an important game early in the season for them.
No, it's a super important game. And I'm pulling for the Chargers, and I was talking to a friend. I'm like, hey, man, here's the thing that the Chargers provide is you can put Derwin James on Kelsey one-on-one. Not many teams have someone that they can put on Kelsey one-on-one, and that's what's going to make this game interesting. Can Derwin James take Travis Kelsey out of the game? Because if Derwin James takes Kelsey out of the game, we know what Juju Smith-Schuster is as the number one. Valdez-Scantling got kicked out of Green Bay. He didn't leave.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire remains to be seen. He had a big game last week, a couple touchdowns.
Yeah, you remember his first game of his career, he had a big game too. There he goes. There goes ow. Missing his boy Chris. But let's see, man. I got something else for you. I got something else for you before we get into the rest of our week one recap. Can I release Lee's leaderboard for you?
Please do it.
Okay. So during football season, I do a weekly leaderboard. It's my top 5. It's my top 5 teams in the league, and then I got my teams hanging out. This can and will change week to week, and I understand that with 1 week, we don't have much to go off of. We don't have much to compare this to. So my leaderboard, I got Bills number 1, Chiefs 2, Buccaneers 3, Vikings 4, Chargers 5, and I got the Ravens of Miami hanging right outside the club.
I'm interested as to why you have the Chargers in your top 5.
They forced 3 turnovers on Derek Carr.
Okay.
Khalil Mack had 3 sacks.
He looked like Raiders Khalil Mack, not Bears.
Bosa had 1.5. Justin Herbert had some amazing throws. They did it without Keenan Allen for parts of the game, and Mike Williams was nowhere to be found. And now we got J.C. Jackson coming back. So I think they only get better.
Okay. I'm not mad at that. Run it again. It's Bills, Chiefs, Bucks.
Vikings, Chargers.
Vikings, Chargers.
Yes.
Okay. So the Rams drop out of your top 5 altogether.
Yeah. They got to prove it to me. They got beat 31-10. And again,
you don't have Philly in it.
No, I didn't like their defense against
them, though, you know?
Huh?
I said you're a big fan of those guys this season.
I think they're going to win a lot of games, and that doesn't change. That's why, hey, the top 5 is going to change. It's going to change. We're going to reevaluate every single week.
Okay.
We're going to evaluate every single week because, I mean, it's just one game.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and overreact and be like, oh, yeah, I'm just confident. No, this is what I saw based on the games that I watched. I went back and watched some games throughout the week because let me tell you guys, when you go to the game, you kind of watch the game that you're at and you see some things, but you still miss some stuff. Then after the game, you end up hanging out. So the 4 o'clock window is hit and miss. And then if you get too drunk, you fall asleep during the late game.
Yeah. That sounds like literally your weekend.
Yeah. Me,
Sunday.
Yeah.
You and Justice both.
Yeah.
Me and your dad sat up. We watched it. And I mean, it wasn't much. It was a boring game anyways. The game was over.
That's why there was a point in that game where I got comfortable going to sleep. And I'm like, I'm just going to go to sleep.
Well, especially once Dak went down, it kind of would just turn into, now we're just here. Now, I mean, what a dud for Monday night, right? Basically.
You mean Sunday night?
Sunday night, yeah, not Monday night. Monday night was great. Even though we got no points in the second half, Monday night was great. I would say that Monday night was by far the best primetime game, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Any other week 1 games you want to talk about? Because I don't really have many.
We lightly touched a lot of them. No, there's none that I can think of notably outside of, I tell you what, and we were kind of on when we watched it, but the Rams and Bills last week, I mean, just obviously really shocking that the Rams, well, not even the Rams, really Matt Stafford, to be completely honest with you. He
looked like a lion.
He looked like he had Lions personnel or something, which he doesn't. You know what I mean? He doesn't have Lions personnel around him anymore.
Can I tell you that the optimistic Falcons fan in me looked at what I saw on Thursday and what I saw on Sunday? I go,
maybe they'll cover, huh?
Maybe we don't get our ass kicked. Maybe we're frisky.
I think that's it for
We are all here to do what Falcons do. Look at that.
We got to hit this too, just because this is
what you want to hit?
This is pretty pressing. Can we talk about Jimbo Fisher and Texas A&M? Well, I tell you what, and you could just put this as week 2 college football, or recap 2. But I want to start with Texas A&M specifically because we got all this hype this offseason. Everybody was looking forward to Texas A&M, Alabama. How
best recruiting class in the country in history.
Right. Texas A&M has already been eliminated from the college football playoffs because they lost at home to Appalachian State. And there's nothing, bro. App State is a solid school. They literally win 8 to 10 games every year in the Sun Belt. They're a competitive team. But no way they should be going to Kyle Field and beating Texas A&M with the number 1 recruiting class in the nation.
History. In history. Hey, you know why Nick?
A good enough recruiting class for Nick Saban to come out and say that you bought players.
You know why Nick Saban? And I defended Saban when he came out and said this stuff, and he talked about how these schools are going to throw this money in front of these kids, but it's not giving the kids the best opportunity to grow and develop. Because Saban knows these guys. He goes, these guys can't fucking coach. They can recruit. They can field a good enough team, and they have decent staffs. But you're going to take this 5-star, and he's barely going to make the league because you're not going to develop him properly. Because you're going to offer him more money than I can. But if he came to me and we were just doing $30,000 under the table instead of $500,000 through the NIL, I get this guy to the first round. He'll get 5 years of guaranteed money. But Jimbo, you're going to have him getting beaten Kyle Field by goddamn Appalachian State. Look, I had one of my worst coaching games against Texas, and I still sent Quentin Ewers to the locker room for the next 6 weeks. And I still pulled that game out of my ass because I'm Nick Saban.
There's that aspect of it, and there's also just, I think there was no doubt in any of our minds. I was with Jew. We were at Hampton and Hudson in the Virginia Highlands watching the game. So big SEC crowd out there, of course. And there was no doubt in almost anyone's mind sitting out there that Alabama was going to find a way to win the game. See, we can't say that about guys like Jimbo. That's the difference between a Saban and a Jimbo. They're both national champions. Obviously, Saban, 6 times over? 7 times over?
Something like that. My phone is up here in game mode, so I can't fact check you.
Yeah, but regardless, point being, there's the fear that Jimbo, it's like it's a 3-point game. Texas A&M and Appalachian State's a pick 'em, and Texas A&M's got the ball, but they're down 3. And you're like, with 6 minutes, you're like, man, Texas A&M, they're going to go down and at least tie. They're going to overtime, or they're going to score a touchdown. Nobody has that belief in Texas A&M because they haven't proved it. You know why? They want all this respect, but they keep finishing fucking third, and they keep finishing third in the SEC West. Like, you feel me? Like,
and here's why. Here's why. Jimbo is obviously better at running a program than Ed Orgeron. But Jimbo is built up because of that great Florida State class that he had, littered with pros, littered with all pros, a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback who's thrown for 5,000 yards in the league. And he gets to hang out with the big boys, but he's not Nick, he's not Dabo, and he may have the same amount of championships, but he's not Kirby. And I might just throw it out here. He's not Harbaugh.
Jimbo, I think, look, and I tell you what, you tell me, do you think that Jimbo benefited greatly from Bobby Bowden retiring when he took over? Because Bobby Bowden retired in like 08?
Sounds about right-ish.
08, maybe 07, maybe 07.
I don't think he could do at Florida State now what he did then, because they were still a respected elite program.
Well, I think he can because of recruiting, because he's proven it even in the SEC he can recruit.
But he can't win.
But if he's in the ACC, he's not playing Alabama every year either. So
no, he's playing Dabo and DJU.
I'm not saying he's going to win, the national championship with Florida State again, but I think that he makes them a contender for the playoffs for sure. Like he honestly can't contend even. Like, he can't contend in the SEC. Like, if Brian Kelly does everything that you think he's going to do with that program by year 3, I mean, when's the window of opportunity for him to make it? Auburn's going to fire their coach after this year. They're going to hire somebody. Who's to say that Auburn doesn't pony up and they give Urban Meyer a call? I mean, like, there are so. I mean, come on, no, you don't think that
Urban can come to SEC country right now and take over a program, and I'm scared.
I bet the fuck that Auburn and Alabama would be the equivalent of kind of what people were hoping.
Hey, have you thought about this? If the SEC goes to, if we stay SEC East and West, Alabama and Auburn's coming to the East.
Auburn for sure. I don't know if they would do Alabama, only because
Texas and OU.
But you got to think about it. But Missouri's in the East, and they're west of Alabama. So, I mean, right. You know what I mean? They would – I think that the plan was to split Texas and Oklahoma. One goes east, one goes west.
Because I think A&M loses a lot of their luster. A&M loses their luster when Texas gets into the SEC. And A&M, honestly, should be relegated back to the Big 12 after that embarrassing performance on Saturday.
I don't think that they would want literally the 4 traditional powerhouses of the SEC, Alabama, Auburn, Florida, and Georgia, all in the same conference.
And Tennessee.
And Tennessee, if you want to add them as the 15th.
No, we don't, because we don't
want that to happen. And you could argue at how good Kentucky is now. I mean, Kentucky's ranked in the top 10 today, right? Arkansas is ranked in the top 10 as well.
They're West.
They were pretty good last year, but right, they would be what I don't think that they would do it like that. So I
don't think they should.
Auburn would maybe move to the East.
I think we should just make it the SEC. We just make the SEC top 2 play for the SEC championship.
Where you have 2 rivalry games, they said that you get to keep. Which for Georgia's case, it would be Florida and probably Auburn.
Yeah, I don't care about that Tennessee game.
Yeah, so because the Auburn because then you have your one non-conference rival, which of course for them, Georgia Tech. And then you have a rotating schedule where you play, it's like 2 different teams in the West or something, or maybe it was 3, but you play 10, it's like 10 conference games, right? So and you get 2 non-conference. One probably your slappy where you pay somebody, and then your rival game.
Well,
State rival. So for
don't pay the Sun Belt.
I'd love to see Georgia Southern play Georgia. I think they'd kick the shit out of it.
Them boys in the Sun Belt had on their black Air Force Ones.
They did.
They said it's a robbery. Kick dough. We taking your. Oh wow! I almost made a bad joke.
I thought you were gonna say kick in the door, waving the 4-4.
No. I was gonna say something that people would find very insensitive given recent events in Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles.
Well, we definitely don't want to touch that.
We don't. What are your thoughts on USC being number 6?
Out about that recently.
Huh?
Somebody was getting chewed out about that. I think it was like Tekashi 6ix9ine or something. But
whatever. What are your thoughts on US? Dwayne Bowe's fat ass. Okay. What are your thoughts on USC at number 7?
What's Dwayne Bowe doing? I've got the screen up. I don't see Dwayne Bowe. What's he doing?
He's about to bang on something with a drum.
Why Dwayne Bowe to start the season?
I mean, they could have got Tony G out of the studio.
I mean, get Dante Hall. You feel me?
He's a better 82.
Well, bro, think about how because at one point
Priest Holmes, man.
Priest Holmes.
No Larry Johnson because he says wild.
I even take Jamal Charles.
Yeah,
he's really good there too.
Brody Kroll.
Or fuck it, he's not calling the game even if he's doing the pregame. Get Tony G. Yeah, what the fuck? Like
get Marty Schottenheimer, Dick Vermeil.
But you know, Dick Vermeil, he just got inducted in the Hall of Fame. Why not, right?
That's disgusting.
It is over like Mike Shanahan. Like people like Mike Shanahan should be in the Hall of Fame.
Look how long it took Jimmy Johnson to get in. Jimmy just got in.
But we know that the owners have say so, and
Jerry
didn't even have him in his Hall of Fame. The man won 2 Super Bowls for you, and would have won the 3rd one. You just kicked him out. You know.
So let me see what else we got. But yeah, USC at 7. I listened to Joel Klatt talk about USC.
Joel Klatt was calling
Alabama, Texas.
Yes, he was
pulling for Texas. But he was talking about USC, and he was speaking to them about Lincoln Riley team, and he talked about yards per play differential between the offense and the defense. And there's a greater differential on yards per play between this USC team and the 2018 Oklahoma OU team. And he's like, this team is good enough to make the playoffs. And I go, they beat fucking Rice and a bad Stanford team. What the hell are we talking about? What have they proven? I got it. Jordan Addison and Caleb Williams are really good. We know that. But what the hell happens when a real front 7 starts heating them up? Caleb Williams has never played against a high-end front 7.
Right.
He played in the Big 12. Now he's playing in the Pac-8.
What was that? Clyde Edwards-Helaire with a big first down run for 10 yards? I'm sorry.
No, I got 3rd and inches right here. That's what she said.
What are they going to – when that happens, do they just give you 9 yards even though it's inches?
I guess. But, like, if you get, like –
why would you round up? Because if it's like 9 3/4 yards, I mean, I don't know. But
hey, why are there not meters on like the field, like sensors on the field that like actually tell you where the ball hits? Like, come on now. Such an outdated game. But
outdated game. We got the fullback getting first downs. Hey, that's it. I hate to cut into this like this, but that's exactly what Denver should have fucking did. Like, I mean, like, why not just do something like that?
Well, Aaron talked about it. He talked about it on McAfee because they said, "Hey, Aaron, why is there so much shotgun in the red zone?" And he was saying they don't even have like a 3 tight end package. Like that shit's just going out the window. Right. That's why I like to watch the Ravens and the 49ers play football, man.
I'm sorry to keep cutting you off.
Edwards-Helaire?
Yeah, man. You know, he's on my team. So for him to have 2 carries for 20 yards already,
I mean, he's talented. You know, he went to Catholic high school in BR. Shout out to my guy Duke. It's like running back high.
He played on what you could argue is the greatest college football team of all time. He was the running back. I mean, so you know, what do you think of? And just because we're still on the college football recap, what do you think of if the last year's Georgia team played that year's LSU team? What kind of game do we get?
We got Stetson Bennett playing quarterback, so I'm just going to rock with Joe Burrow, man.
Okay, that's a fair way to look at it. But what if Stetson, I tell you what if Stetson wins the Heisman this year, and we know the totality of his career, and he wins the Heisman this year, but that's the matchup you get?
I see Justin Jefferson, Joe Burrow, and Jamar Chase play in the league. And I know Georgia has some good corners, but I mean,
Keelan Ringo is going to be a first-round pick,
right? Jamar Chase and
Justin, the first-round pick this year.
Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson are going to be all pros this year.
Yeah. You can argue that one's the best receiver in the NFC, the other one's the best in the AFC.
Right. You know, so
and they're just in year 3 and year 2.
Yeah, I don't like to make those comparisons because I'm going to root against Georgia. Are there any games this week that you care about in college football? Because I looked at the slate. It's pretty shitty.
Well, I tell you what, there are some, of course, because I've got my picks here. But we'll get to that a little. Matter of fact, this is the perfect time for me to go through the rundown, and then we give the picks. After this, I'll give the picks and just run down them. But I'll bring up all the ones that I think are relatively important. And,
all right, I'm gonna go take a leak real quick.
Okay. Well, I mean, for me, we've got to start off with. Oops, looks like I don't have that up. Hold on. One second here, guys. Wow, all that, and they still didn't get a first down. Hold on. I'm sorry about this, guys. Okay, so for college football this week, I've got the picks up. That's the worst part about it. I don't have the actual games, though. But no, we can start off with Oklahoma and Nebraska. You're talking about Nebraska coming off a game where
their coach got fired.
Yeah, we just got Scott Frost fired. Oklahoma is a team that really, obviously, they're ranked still really high. They got Dylan Gabriel at quarterback. A lot of people see him as kind of a dark horse Heisman contender. And they've got the spread at 11. But that's a game that interests me just because of Nebraska, firing Scott Frost. It's basically, even with an interim coach, a new era. And from my understanding, the coach that they hire is the first black coach in Nebraska history at any of the sports there. So he's the
that
first
lets
black
you know how much you support that school.
I know. Isn't that crazy? Like, that is wild, though. That's, like, wild as shit. Like, honestly, like, not one, like, across the board. Not even basketball. Like, you feel me? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why is there no basketball coaches black at a bare minimum?
Oh, shit. We got game 3 tonight of WNBA Finals.
I didn't see that. I wish I had known because I wouldn't have done the over-under in this game if I knew, because I would have just taken Connecticut. Actually, I probably would have taken Vegas to,
sweep.
Yeah, to get the sweep. I think they're going to sweep them tonight. But
yeah, me too.
Obviously, that's a game to keep an eye on. Georgia, South Carolina is another game that I was looking at this year.
We got Spence.
I think it's interesting. We got to see a video today of South Carolina's football team playing hide and go seek after losing by 20-plus points to Arkansas last week. Yeah, so I think that this is an interesting game because, coming into the season, I think we thought that South Carolina would be a team that wouldn't necessarily beat Georgia, but would give them a run for their money because of what they added and the momentum that they were coming off of last year. I think it's going to look more of the same of what we got to see last year. Motherfuckers are too busy playing hide and go seek while Kirby's chewing out Stetson and their unit for beating Sanford 36-0. You know what I mean? Because they're like, you didn't score enough. Like type
and you know Kirby's like, you see this? You see these motherfuckers play hide and go seek.
They're taking
you know what?
y'all are a joke.
If you think you're a game, you go find them. You seek every single Gamecock out, and you fuck them.
Yeah, and so that's
Thanks, Paul.
That's right. That's a game that's got my interest. I'm not going to go through like all the pick ones, just all the games that I've got some interest. So Cal at Notre Dame. Honestly, there's interest here because the honeymoon phase is clearly over. For Freeman, you were here with us watching that debacle.
You watch his demeanor. He knows he's on the hot seat right now.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I've never seen a nigga get put on the hot seat so quickly that like wants the job.
Hey, he probably shouldn't have gotten the job, honestly.
Well, we don't know. They said he's the D coordinator since what it is Fickle should have been Notre Dame's coach, and then Cincinnati should have hired him.
Yep, absolutely. And
that's what should have happened. Because Fickle's Catholic too, apparently. And we all know how Lou Holtz feels about the Catholics and hiring a Catholic coach.
That was really good. Have you practiced that?
Well, it's just the way that he talked about Notre Dame. And that shit was, bro, that shit is that shit's living rent-free in my head. That shit is like, honestly, one of the craziest impressions I've heard. So, like, when I hear it, it's easier for me to mimic him than it is to actually do Lou Holtz. Yeah.
Hey, but I should have sent it to the group. That same guy, he does a Peyton, and he's talking about Peyton Manning when he's telling the Nate Hack to call a timeout. Gold. It's gold.
Wait. But on the Manning podcast, Peyton was like, call a timeout. Like,
oh yeah, no, Peyton's up there like Peyton getting mad, and then Shannon's like, what are you doing?
He had Shannon Sharp on in the fourth quarter?
Yes.
Wow.
Like,
what a great guest to have, though, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, Broncos legend.
Yeah, both. I mean, he was 5 years there. Damn it. See, this is what I knew was going to fucking happen.
That defense is going to get carved up because it's not good.
But that's why I took the over, too. But I just thought that – but like I kind of said, I already had said – that's why I told you I felt the opposite of you. I felt that they were going to win, but I bet Chiefs. Because, like, I just feel like –
Is that Sonny Michel running the rock like that?
Huh?
Is that Sonny Michel running the rock like that?
Do they sign Sonny Michel to back up I see Kelly. It says Kelly.
Or is Sonny Michel in Miami?
He got cut. I just don't remember who signed him. I don't remember if it was the Chargers. Somebody did sign him.
All right, so the only game I care about this week in college football is A&M versus the U. Well, I kind of care about Cal versus Notre Dame.
I just want to see how he bounces back, man, because I'm going to be honest. If they win that game, man, we might be talking about a one and done. That's all I'm saying.
He might be with Scott Frost.
Another interesting game too, by the way. Ole Miss at Georgia Tech. Kind of weird game because you don't really ever see it. But I have to imagine the Ole Miss frat boys partying in Midtown because a lot of the motherfuckers are from here. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
really weird how many people from Georgia like go to all these SEC schools, like Ole Miss,
just Southern schools in general. Charleston Southern, Southern, like not
UAB.
They go to Southern Miss, but like Auburn, Alabama. There are people I know that went to Clemson, South Carolina.
Paul.
Some people go, you know Swanee, the School of the South, or some shit.
Yes,
like I know motherfuckers that went there. You got your Georgia Southern guys, you got your Valdosta State. Like it's crazy how if you're from the South, like you just know about all these schools down here.
Yeah, like I haven't heard Swanee School of the South in years, but when you said about like everybody knows it. It's not the real Swanee because the real Swanee is where everybody went and played basketball.
The guy that I knew, and this is the crazier part. Get this.
Okay.
He's black. He's black. And get this. This is the real kicker. He didn't play basketball.
Did he dip?
He did play football, but because I didn't play football, I'm kind of making fun of him. He played football, he played baseball, and he was a wrestler.
He has sex with white women and he dips.
He was but I promise you, he was the only nigga that didn't play basketball.
Yeah, I know.
Legit, like everybody that was at school there. I mean, there are people like Justice that didn't play basketball, but Justice, for what it's worth, Justice played no sports. So like, you know what I mean? Justice played JV like in 9th grade, but that was it. Like, you know what
Justice used to come hang out with us.
That's what Justice would do. Justice, you want to know what Justice did during my varsity games? He was fucking DJ. They had him playing the warm-up music.
That's actually like a pretty cool job.
It is, because he couldn't play. Obviously, they didn't really want even the clean version of certain stuff. So he had to do some really good instrumentals, basically. Like one of the songs that we used to do a lot of that we would like do layup lines to was Rudderbo, no. The Snoop Dogg, I want to rock right now. Yeah, we would do layup lines to that.
Dang, that's what Snoop Dogg, Hove, and Too Short, ain't it?
Remix, yeah. We would do Oh Let's Do It or It's a Party, Grove Street.
My money, y'all.
Yeah. But honestly, we didn't get the claimer. We just got the instrumental though. But it's just, you know.
God, no, you can't. You went to a Christian school. Y'all can't be like, I fucked my money up. Damn, now I can't re-up in this spot. Just
well, even if it's clean, my money up. Now I can't re-up. They're gonna be like, well, what does that mean?
I lost my money, so I can't buy more drugs to make money. So I wouldn't rob somebody, so I could. I
can't buy more of anything. Drugs. Come on, stop his ass. Wow, he got really close. They might go for it because Staley's such a bitch.
Hey, you want to hear about my elite performers for last week?
He's going to go. No, they're bringing on the field goal unit, huh?
Yeah, I'm ahead of you.
Good. Well, I mean, that's my kicker.
Okay.
Fantasy. Yeah.
You want to hear about my elite? Want to hear about my elite performers last week before we get into the NFL week 2?
Fantasy or college football?
Lee's elite for the week.
Okay, go for it.
Just like my losers, it's all over the week, man.
So it could be anything. It could be fantasy football.
It's the Sun Belt.
Of course.
Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
Devontae Adams.
Okay.
Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, absolutely.
Minka Fitzpatrick.
Okay.
Khalil Mack.
Okay.
Pete Carroll.
All right.
And lastly, Micah Parsons. And I want to talk about Micah Parsons because, for one, he was the only thing that popped on the Dallas Cowboys team Sunday. I mean, he was a bright spot in like an absolute zero where there's like it's so cold like there's no heat. He was like a laser pointer in absolute zero, you know. But what about that chip block?
By Lenny.
Yes, the chip block by Lenny. You know, Von Miller came out and said that that block should be outlawed from football.
Possibly. I mean, I think it could go a lot of different ways. I mean, if you looked at the block, I get it. It was because it was kind of blindside. It looked like a football play to me. And Micah had every reason to say, because what it is because Pro Football Focus is the one that put it up. That's really what I'm sure he remembered it during the game too. But like at the same time, because of course you're going to remember when you get fucking blindside. It happened to me in special teams once in high school.
And you know, in Pro Football Focus on the tweet, they put like the pancake emoji. It's like, that's not a pancake, guys.
Well, it definitely wasn't a pancake, but I get it. He laid them out. He flattened them out, whatever. Like, you know, but like, I wasn't really mad at the hit itself. I thought that him responding with the Jordan emoji though,
hilarious.
It's hilarious because they won the game, and for him, it's just, and he ran for 100-something yards. So it ain't like he had a bum ass game either. And it's just like, bro, you're just crying at this point. Like, why are you cursing at me over this? Like,
hey, listen to this though. Let me pitch it to you like this. Not my original take. I took it from Chris Long. Player safety. everywhere in player safety, the offensive players continue to be protected with little protection from the defensive players. How bad is a blindside hit where somebody launches themselves while you're engaged with another player? You know, it's bad enough the running back can lower his head, but the defender can't. You know, I get we want to make the game more offensive, but if we really care about player safety, I think the NFL should look into this. Or we just call it like we want it, like it is, and say, hey, we want more points. So we want offensive players to be safe and better highlights from the offense. We don't really care what the defense does, and we just keep going as is.
Right.
Put your head on the swivel, son.
Yeah, I think that you could definitely look at it that way. But one other thing I wanted to get to, because on your elites, I think that you missed out on something.
What did I miss?
You left somebody off your elites. And I know it's your elites and it's not my elites, but
well, you're here to argue my elites.
I think that who you put was, look, you got it written, right? And that's permanent, and that's what it is. But I think we're missing somebody. How about those ladies out in Vegas, huh? How about Aja Wilson, Kelsey Plum? They're 2-0. They might be closing out tonight, getting their first championship. The Vegas fans for supporting and selling out the WNBA. It's crazy because we watched the game the other day. You were like, what was better, my beer or the
game was good. I was watching the game.
I watched it too. What was a blowout? But just to see that energy and
what I liked, good Zach.
I
forgot how much I liked Kelsey Plum, because I liked Kelsey Plum when she was in high school.
And
I liked her at Washington, and she's one of the few WNBA players who has a more masculine game. Like her bag is very smooth finishes. She's nice with the left. Like I enjoyed watching Kelsey Plum play basketball. Because I was telling the wife, I'm like, man, I got to start like kind of embracing this WNBA stuff a little bit more, because I'm about to be a girl dad here. And if she wants to be a hooper, like, I can't be on my platform just shitting on the league all the time.
Well, if it's a bad product, it's a bad product.
Well,
but it depends. I think that there are quality. Obviously, there's quality WNBA players. I love watching college women's, especially during the tournament. It is really competitive. Like, and I think Justice thinks I'm attracted to Dawn Staley or something, but I'm like, no, I'm just well, this is what I'm saying. I think that Dawn Staley is just a hell of a. I mean, this is so weak from Kansas City,
bro. And Becky Hammonds too. Like, I love that Becky Hammonds is in the finals because she paid her dues in the NBA, and I still don't know if Becky Hammonds works in the NBA because of just men, right? I know I'm confident she has the mind to coach, and I'm pretty sure she could manage personalities. Like, she knows what to do to manage the personalities. But I just think there are people who are just gonna be like, somebody tell this bitch to shut up,
right?
And then she gonna be like, excuse me, but she can't fight him. And then she can't go to the owner and be like, hey, our max player just said somebody tell this bitch to shut up. He needs to get out of here. And the owner's going to be like, well, what did you say? And I'm not saying that that's right. But, I mean, we just see what just happened with Robert Sarver, man. Like, they said this man's like pulling down his pants and stuff in front of people. Like, hey, here's my dick.
Well, and here's the thing, too. I think that I told Justice this actually the other day because I was on the phone with him while I was watching that game. I think that Becky Hammond, I think that regardless, think about this.
Big ass ordering Instacart in the tub, but I can't call her big as hell. I'm fat shaming.
Hold on.
They shoved a giant ice cream in her
She's
face.
doing ice cream.
Right. But if I make a fat joke, I'm the monster, huh?
Hold on. Takis. I mean, I love Takis.
Me too.
Okay, a bunch of balls.
I've got Canelo Triple G this weekend, huh? Cindy's going to be mad at me because we're watching college football all day, and then we're turning on the fight.
Well, I'm going to be at the fight.
When you going out to Vegas?
I'm flying out tomorrow morning.
You fucking cocky.
I know. And then it's a doubleheader. I'm going to Falcons Rams on Sunday. So
oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah. You were. I remember you were talking about going to LA. So yeah, that makes sense.
But I've got I mean, I had already. Well, what it is it worked out perfectly. Once they announced Triple G, I looked it up. I think the NFL schedule was out by the time it got announced, and I said, "Oh, great!" I said, "I'll just do that both this weekend." And then I hit a bet. I'm sure you saw 2 days ago.
Yep.
I hit a solid one. So I've already withdrawn all that money. I'm going to the bank in the morning to get my cash, and I'm headed to Vegas, man. And we're gonna hope to come home at least with $100,000.
Josh Holsey meeting you in LA?
So my dad's gonna come with me. So my dad's going with me to the fight. Him, Jay Briggs, and then I don't know if you've ever met Cuban Mike, but Cuban Mike's going too. Cuban Mike did me a solid, so I invited him out.
It's Cuban Mike from Cuba.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
Okay.
He's a white Cuban. He looks white. If you look at it.
I have a funny story about white Hispanic people that I will not tell on this podcast.
Maybe once we get off, we can definitely do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he is. And so, yeah, that's going to be the crew. And then, like I said, the Falcons with our season tickets, we essentially have full season tickets. I knew the fucking Chargers were going to win this game, but and maybe they won't. But I need the over too, and I got.
We need some points here.
Well, and then the field goal wasn't like a 50 yards, so it didn't even benefit me like that in fantasy.
The NFL guys don't care about you fantasy guys. Oh, throwback. It's not going to work.
Oh, well, but the best part is that he's got Justin Herbert. So that's who I'm going to beat JP anyways this week. But
JP's not good at fantasy football.
Well, I'm aware. And that's why, it's so funny. I hate to do it.
Why would you call this play on 2nd and 2? Stop being cute and just run the ball.
Who, Staley?
Yes.
That's not Justin Houston. That's some guy named Gay.
Yeah, 50's gay. Hey, number 50, that's gay.
Well,
50's gay.
Well, I'm saying that's some gay guy or something.
Yeah, some guy gay. Yeah, 50's gay.
All right, but we're immature, man.
Hey, gays, don't counsel us. His last name is Gay.
Niggas either got kids or about to have kids, still making gay jokes. It's crazy. But either way, I think you're a little bit ahead of me. I'm curious if they convert this. Hopefully it's a pick six.
Hey, you know who else I left off the list? And it will bring us back to one of my legends last week.
He's just short. Or did he get that?
It's close.
I think they're giving it to him.
They should give it to him.
I think he's short. Yeah, he is short. He's definitely short. It's inches. He's short.
Do you think number 50 would give it to him?
Well, no, he's short, bro.
Yeah, he's short.
He was already down, and then he flips his body over. He was short. The ball never crossed the plane. He was already down. Yeah, he's short. Good spot by the ref. Hey, let's give the referees some credit this week too. They should be on Lee's Elite. The referees were great in the Seattle game.
The kickers weren't.
The kickers weren't. Well, McManus wasn't bad. I mean, he missed a 64-yarder, but
no, that because what that I don't know. But the referee did call the one
that fumble that by letting Colin get a fumble because I wouldn't have noticed. And then of course, even the Russ bounce pass.
Russ, little fat ass, can't run no more, man.
Hey, man, I think he's going to get 3 rushing touchdowns, all right? And so
I don't think he gets 20 rushing yards this year.
But Russ can throw the ball. I mean, let's not act like Russ can't throw the ball. I just think he's got to get on the same page. Okay, so Staley's ass is going to go for it, and he's going to give Pat a short field.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't blame him. This is the right call.
Let's see if he does, what he should do. Yeah, there we go. 6'6" quarterback sneak, running the ball. You know why? Because the return of the run. Did you see football this past week? Saquon goes for 100 plus.
160 plus.
Playoff Lenny goes for a nice hundo. Cordero Patterson goes for a nice hundo piece.
120.
The Eagles just run the hell out of the football. Who else? We had about 500-yard rushers in week 1. I'm telling y'all, the running game is back. And if Green Bay runs the ball more, Come on, man. Hell, Zeke had 50 on the ground on like 12 carries. Like, if you fed him, he could have got you to 100.
I am so worried about this game, Lee.
Going under?
Yeah.
You know you shouldn't bet over unders to like week 4.
Well,
Vegas doesn't know yet either.
Here's the thing. Kansas City, it wasn't even that high. It'd be one thing if it was like 57.5.
What was it? 52?
Well, it dropped to 50. It was 54, and then it dropped to 53, and I bought 1.5. So 28-24 is what I need.
Yeah.
So, here's the thing. If Kansas City scores 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, I mean in the
that's
second
PI,
quarter,
and he still caught it. Ooh.
But see, I hate to say it, this is kind of good for Kansas City to go down 10. If they go down 10-0 or something,
Because they're gonna start flinging it.
They have to. And Andy Reid knows how to win a shootout.
All right, man. So let's get to the preview for this week. Because I'm not gonna watch this whole game with you on a podcast because we'll start. Because last week we got so deep into the game that we recorded for 3.5 hours.
Well, because at that point it was kind of like, well, we still hadn't even touched everything. We had started a little bit later. This week we got to start a little early. Week 3 preview of the NFL.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the games. I'm looking at the games right now. Obviously, we've done Chargers, Chiefs. I got a spicy one for you.
Well, Dolphins, Ravens is the first one that kind of stood out to me, honestly, just because if you remember last year, what we saw, they played on Thursday night. It was Lamar in Miami. The Miami defense stymied Lamar Jackson. It was a sloppy-ass game. Those 2 PIs. That's crazy.
He still got it.
It's 2 fucking PIs.
He still got it.
But point being, I guess I look at it kind of this way. That's a spicy-ass game, because those are potentially 2 playoff teams. And, of course, because Baltimore hasn't given Lamar his money. Obviously, he's from Miami. There are still questions of Tua. They have built a team. They have defense. They've got playmakers. Mike McDaniels is supposed to be an offensive mind, so I guess that will remain to be seen.
I mean, he beat Bill Belichick in his coaching debut. That rarely happens.
That does rarely happen. But for what it's worth, if there was any team in division that Bill Belichick has a problem with, it's Miami at Miami.
Well, Tua is 4-0
for whatever.
Tua is 4-0 against Bill Belichick.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's interesting.
He's
got to be the only person with 1,000 win percentage against him.
Here's what I got for you. Fucking Colts Jags. You talk about Atlanta legend Matt Ryan versus Cartersville legend Trevor Lawrence. You got a weird Jacksonville team that the Colts don't beat in Jacksonville.
I tell you what, if they lose the game, if the Colts lose the game,
they've lost the division.
Well, nobody's won a game yet, right? And this tie could actually prove to be good for the Colts, because if they go 11-5-1 and somebody else in the conference, not the division, in the conference goes 11-6, that tie is going to be the difference maker in them, possibly being from the 3 seed to the 2 seed or something. And so
I need them to go 12-4-1, man.
I like the Colts to still get it done. I think I wasn't surprised they got a tough game out of the Texans, because they were coached up at the end of the year. Davis Mills was going to be better.
Davis Mills was the best second year quarterback. Like, everyone kept talking about the 5 that went in the first round, but I'm like, Davis Mills statistically played better than all of them and could have won.
Matt Ryan had his first game as a Colt. They came back. They were down 17. They came back. Rodrigo, former Dog, of course, misses some field goals at the end. I think they're going to be just fine. I really do.
You're fired. You're fired.
I think they're going to be just fine.
You want me to tell you something about Matt Ryan?
Go for
You remember I came on here and talked about how Matt Ryan restarted that practice because he didn't like what he was seeing?
Yes.
Did you hear Cliff Kingsbury come out and talk about how they got to practice harder coming into next week? And you're sitting there like, what the hell did you do in training camp? Now is not the time to be practicing harder. Now is the time to be practicing smarter. And if the coach is coming out and saying that, that means he's saying it inside the locker room. And it's not resonating. And that means the players aren't holding themselves to a winning standard. Or maybe they don't know a winning standard because they're led by the mayor of Munchkinland, the video game warrior, the guy who's going to win a E-ring before he actually wins a ring, Kyler Murray. And that's the difference between veteran leadership, Matt Ryan, day one saying, hey, man, this ain't right. We're going to fix it. I don't care how it makes y'all feel. We're going to fix it because we want to win. We want to win a championship.
Well, that's the why Matt Ryan's. Well, Matt knows that his time in the league is coming to a close here soon. I think he's got 3 more years, personally, because I think after the 3rd year, he will probably turn to a guy that potentially is a backup. But Matt Ryan doesn't strike me as a guy that plays like Joe Flacco.
No, Matt Ryan retires and goes. He goes to the booth.
He retires, goes to the booth, or he'll listen to a call after that 3rd year. Yeah. If somebody gives him a very good opportunity, he might listen to the call. So touchdown, San Diego. San Diego. Hey, you know what sucks? The Chargers could have absolutely stayed in San Diego. I think it would have been a great place to watch a football game, but that's just me. All the bars and stuff.
Bro, I lived there while the Chargers were there.
Where was that stadium located? Was it by Gaslamp too?
No. So it was the Qualcomm it's close to my old place.
Okay, so closer to more innish.
Yeah, it was inland.
Okay, so it wasn't.
There wasn't stuff to do around it like afterwards. Like there were a couple bars, but there weren't.
Imagine they put some shit near PB. Like if PB was a 1.5 mile walk, or Gaslamp, like how San Diego, like the Padres are.
And I think they were trying to get closer to Gaslamp with the new stadium. Bro.
It would have been great. I'm going to be honest with you. San Diego deserves a football team, just like Seattle deserves a basketball team.
San Diego deserves – bro, if San Diego had the big 3, I'd move back and never leave.
Baseball, football, basketball?
Yeah, if San Diego had the big –
I don't know about basketball. I mean, the Clippers low-key could have just moved to San Diego.
They were there, and
I know that's where they were at first, but
Sterling wanted to get to LA, and I get it. But
I think San Diego doesn't get the love it deserves as a city, though.
No, it doesn't. I was talking to somebody about California cities, and they were talking about LA, and I'm like, no, it was the chicks we met after the game, or that y'all met. I didn't meet anybody.
Yes.
Yeah, we're talking. They're like. They're from LA, and they're just like, nah, San Diego. I'm like, bro, nah, I'm sorry. LA is overrated. If all the famous people,
I'll be there tomorrow.
If you weren't going to LA to network, why would you go? Just go to San Diego.
I think if you're going to go to have a good time and drink and stuff like that, yeah. But I get what you're saying. I mean, it's a lot to do in LA. I think too. The thing with LA is, who do you know? Like,
right. If you don't know people in LA, it's not fun.
Yeah, like I got a buddy that lives up there, man.
You got Creole Court, man. You got Hurt Bay.
Oh, man, I know a lot. I actually know a couple people, and then obviously I do business in the area. The thing is that my buddy Wei Chow lives up there. I mean, my buddy Wei Chow, man. I don't hope he doesn't mind me saying it. My guy lives in the hills, man. And this is cheap for LA. He got a $1.25 million fucking home. And his backyard view is LA, Asian guy, Wei Chow. Not gonna give his full name, but Wei Chow. Yeah, he's my shout out to Wei Chow, by the way. But
shout out to Wei Chow.
Yeah, man, that's my guy. But
let's keep this week 3 preview going. Bucs Saints. Does Tom Brady break the curse of Dennis Allen?
Absolutely. Well, because it's not really Dennis Allen, it's really the Sean Payton regular season curse. He's going to beat the fuck. They didn't even have a good offensive game against Dallas. And Dallas's defense actually played well.
Dallas's defense was good.
And they played well. It just was, I mean, Dak wasn't doing nothing before he got hurt, but then when he got hurt, it was really over. So, yeah, man, I think that they're going to be just fine.
Julio looked good, man.
Julio did look good. Julio looked like like he could have been used in a game earlier that day that was played in Houston. It would have been a perfect. Come on. You know that you would have loved it too.
Yeah, I think that would be Michael Pittman had a good game, but I think
if you added that and Julio looked that way with him, they would have won the game.
Julio gives you a different fear that you had. And look how creative they got with him. They was running jet sweeps with Julio, multiple. And it's like, why did we not do this in Atlanta? He did run a 4.39 with a stress fracture in his foot. Oh wow. They're gonna call holding, but that was a pick.
Defensive holding.
Yeah, they're gonna call defensive holding, but that was
great.
That was a pick, and the defensive holding had nothing to do with the pick.
I don't give a fuck what it was. You know what I care about, baby.
I know. Cards Raiders. I think this
is that wasn't a catchable ball. Is the issue,
right?
But but it doesn't matter if it's holding. PI is where it matters. I mean, that was a hold, bro. He had his arm.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was holding. It was still a bad throw by Mahomes. Like he wasn't there.
Terrible. He was never going to catch it. Right.
No, like that was a pick with or without the holding.
Yeah.
We got loser. I think we got loser leaves town. Wow, he pushed the shit out of him too.
You said lose town.
Cards Raiders. Whoever loses is not making the playoffs.
Well,
0-2.
Look, we're about to get to my six-pack, but I think you know which direction I'm leaning with this.
I think you're going with the Raiders.
I think I'm going to go with the team I have making the playoffs.
Then lastly, we got Monday Night Football, Vikings, Eagles. Eagles win this game. They probably join some elite company.
My six-pack. Wow, you're doing a really good job of picking out games that are in my six-pack.
So which six-pack do you want to do since we're here?
I tell you what, let's because we're on the NFL, let's start with the NFL. Fuck it.
All right. So let's serve up that cold six-pack and then we'll break it down.
We've got an ice cold six-pack. We're gonna start with Sunday this time. So we've got the Baltimore Ravens and the Miami Dolphins. We're gonna take Baltimore -3.5, and we're gonna keep it that way. I like them to get back. Next game, we've got the Detroit Lions at home against the Washington Commanders. Give me the Detroit Lions on the money line. It's the first time that they've been favored in like 24 straight games. Give me the Lions. Next up, we've got the Indianapolis Colts at the Jacksonville.
You don't have to speed through it. I'm still writing, but
okay. Next up, we got the Indianapolis Colts at the Jacksonville Jaguars. I like Matt Ryan to get it done. Enough said. I think that they're the best team in the division, and I know that they've historically struggled there, but that's why they got Matt Ryan. Next, we got Tampa Bay at New Orleans. Give me over 44.5. I think that as much as these games have been predicated on defense kind of in the past, if you remember the one time they played in the playoffs, the one time that they did beat them, that game was a high-scoring game. I expect more of the same, especially with Jameis Winston playing, and both defenses Tampa Bay's defense played pretty well, but New Orleans didn't. They gave up 26 points to the Falcons. Tom Brady should be able to score more than 26 points. Next up, Arizona at the Raiders. Give me the Las Vegas Raiders on the money line. It's a sexy pick simply because Travis Kelce's getting loose. It's a sexy pick because the Raiders are actually better than them. And so I think the Cardinals are a team that's destined to probably pick in the top 10, honestly, this year. I wouldn't surprise me if them and Seattle kind of finished about the same record.
Wouldn't shock me either. One has a good coach.
And then we got for the final, the coldest beer of this six-pack. And Josh Holsey, I hope that you're listening. We got the Minnesota Vikings at the Philadelphia Eagles on Monday night doubleheader. Give me them goddamn Minnesota Vikings. I think that Justin Jefferson looks at Jeffrey Lurie and he points at him like they did in Remember the Titans. You know that scene where Julius points at the coach? I think that he's going to point at the fucking Eagles brass, Howie, Jeffrey Lurie. He's going to point at all those guys and he's going to say, you didn't fucking pick me up, you loser. Give me the Minnesota Vikings on the money line at the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right, so just to recap, we got Ravens -3.5. We got the Lions on the money line. We got the Colts on the money line. We got Tampa Bay at New Orleans over 44. Mm-hmm. We got Las Vegas on the money line, and we got the Vikings on the money line.
Yep, that's perfect. I love it.
All right, man. So we went money line heavy this week. I like it because, man, it's so early in the year that when you're playing with these spreads, you're guessing.
Well. And here's the thing. This is what I'll say. We went 1-5 week 1. Obviously, not ideal. Not what I expected to happen. But at the same time, this is what I will say. We went 2-4 to start week 1 last year. Then we went 5-1 the next week, and then we went 6-0 in week 3. So I think that like one of the things is you got to get your feet wet, and It was a bad week. I mean, it was a bad week, but there were quite a few games that came down to the limit. I mean, we had a tie. We had multiple games going to overtime where there was a game-winning field goal. The Falcons game came down to the wire. Like, there were a lot of games that literally were coin flips. So it's week 1. No need to overreact. Nobody comes out and just fucking sweeps week 1. That's always a tough bet. We did pretty well in college football, though. We were 4-2. Baylor and somebody else were the only losses. But we did pretty well in college football in week 2. So, you know, it's a part of it. And I expect us to continue to get winners, kind of like we did last year, and, you know, roll this thing on down the road.
Here's how it goes, man. You win some, you lose some. You live to fight another day. And if you come hang out with us, you're going to live. And you're going to live well, man. I'm telling you guys. We had a great weekend.
We did. We had it, man. Let me tell you, I think for a season opener and for me to be able to get my neighbors to come together like this too, because I've hung out with them individually, but for us to all get to come together, then I've got you guys come, and then, you know, we meet people. They're cool. We rooftop.
It was, and I'm not going to lie to you, it was just so cool. Like for my dad to like hang out with me and my friends, and not really, he was just there, like fly on the wall type, but just see how me and my friends hang out.
Yeah.
And like he got like the full effect of, oh wow, he's like, yeah, y'all have a good time, huh? I was like, yeah, this was something light.
Well, you know, and to a degree it was. I one of the things I'm excited about is football and football in general, but just the idea of, you know, this year especially, I feel like we didn't really take it up the next level for games before games. I think that's going to be something that we continue to do. Honestly, I got the thing chopped off up here.
So we're gonna set up.
Oh yeah, I got to put something up there. Justice argued that I should get a tent and sleep with one day. I'm not gonna do that, but
your bed's too close.
Yeah, but I get what he's saying. But I think it'll be definitely very cool to do, and I look forward to
date night up there. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, we'll picnic, wine glass, charcuterie, or, you know, obviously some good fruits, or if I cook something, watch the sunset, or if I don't cook something, we get takeout or something. I mean,
you're winning. You're winning.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to beat. Let me tell you, shout outs to Sean and Angelo though for showing hospitality, us being able to go to their spots.
Yeah, bro.
They're beautiful
and they're cool.
Decorated. Yeah, they're just cool guys, and they're both tall white guys, right? Well, Angelo's but they're both. It's weird because they're both taller than me. And so, like, I'm not tall, but, like, I'm not short. So, like, it's odd to run into two different people in your building that are this close that are taller than you, too. So.
Yeah, no, like that. We had a good time, man. And, you know, what started our good time was watching college football.
The night before. Yeah, the night before.
So, man, let's get that six-pack for this week.
Let's get into the six-pack. So, I had already screenshotted these.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go through them because it
fumble.
So for the screenshot ones, all right. So we've got Oklahoma at Nebraska. I'm gonna go ahead and take Oklahoma minus 9.5. So the spread is 11. So we're gonna buy the 1.5 on it. I look, man, nothing against Hail Southern. I get it. All right, whatever. Get the fuck out of here, man. Oklahoma's going in there and they're putting foots in ass. Okay, next game. We got Purdue at Syracuse. Me and Justice literally looked at this one and we couldn't believe it. Purdue money line is the dog on the road against Syracuse. I like Dino Babers. Look, I want to see the black man win. But at the end of the day, Purdue puts points on the board, baby, and that's all I care about. I care about points and I care about who's going to win. Purdue going to win. Give me Purdue money line at Syracuse.
Purdue.
Next game, Cal Notre Dame. Oh, wait. No. That wasn't on there. That was on my other one. Hold on. But BYU at Oregon. I think that Oregon gets a bounce back game. I mean, I think that the Georgia game really did humble them. So we're going to roll with Oregon money line because it's so favorable on the money line at home against BYU. They're better than BYU. They're more talented than BYU. That's why people had questions of whether they would cover against Georgia because they're more talented. Next, we're going to go with Lee's hometown team, basically, not really. His second hometown team. We got LSU at home against Mississippi State as plus dogs. Give me LSU money line. I don't think Brian Kelly can afford to lose that game, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, he won't be able to afford his house.
Well, you start your first 3 games are in the state of Louisiana and you lose 2 of them. And Mississippi State and Florida State are the teams, not Alabama and Georgia. Yeah, that's going to be a big issue.
Yeah.
Those boosters, they might have patience, but they don't got that type of fucking patience.
They ain't got patience. You see what they did to Coach O?
Yeah, and he's one of them.
Yeah.
You know, he's one of them. He's got the accent and all. But yeah, we'll roll with them.
Okay.
Let me see. So that's 4. Okay, 2 more. All right, so we got Michigan State. Hold on, because I'm going through my screenshots, but I'm also going through it because I don't see who the opponent is for whatever reason.
Sparty.
Michigan State is playing. Okay, Michigan State at Washington. Washington's got Penix Jr., who was the quarterback at Indiana. Very good quarterback. Washington, obviously, historically, is a pretty solid team. At the end of the day, Mel Tucker did not get a fucking $100 million contract to be the number 11 ranked team in college football to lose games to Washington. I'm sorry. He didn't. And they're underdogs. Give me Michigan State on the road, man. I don't see how you pay a guy like Mel Tucker, former Alabama staffer, former fucking Chicago Bears defensive coordinator. This is a guy that's got all this experience and they lose to Washington. I don't see that happening. So give me that. And then for our final one, I was teetering between the USC spread because I really think they're actually going to beat the shit out of Fresno too. I think that they're going to be legitimate this year. I really do. And they're at home, and this is kind of their first big home game because Rice doesn't count. But we're going to skip that one. We're going to go with something a little bit sexier for the Atlanta crowd.
Okay.
Ole Miss at Georgia Tech. First quarter over. It is 13.5. Ole Miss's defense still isn't very good. And Georgia Tech's defense definitely isn't good. And Ole Miss is going to put points up like it's nobody's fucking business against Georgia Tech. Give me over 13.5 in the first quarter. I just really do see Ole Miss possibly hanging 14 by themselves on them. But even Tech probably will score against Ole Miss at home. They might score.
All right, so we got OU minus 9.5 versus Nebraska. Purdue money line, Oregon money line, LSU money line, Michigan State money line, and Georgia Tech. Excuse me, Ole Miss at Georgia Tech over 13.5.
That's perfect.
You like it, I love it. You ready for Lee's 3?
I am ready for the Lee's 3.
All right, man. So we're gonna go Lee's 3 this week. I'm taking those Ravens minus 3.5. I think Lamar comes out and puts foot in the Dolphins, and he looks at both franchises and say, "Fuck you, pay me."
Well, especially a little bit of revenge sex for last year, you know?
Absolutely.
Get back sex. He was at home. They spoiled his homecoming. He's like, well, now you can come to my house, and now we'll see how you like this.
Let me take you to the neck of the woods of my hood. I also like the Raiders to make Kyler and Cliff 0-2, and we really start, cleaning up these streets and getting the KKK out of town.
I totally agree. And honestly, I was the spread was 5.5 on that game. I thought about taking that, but I was like, you know what? They have to play better than they did last week, because if they play just as bad and they get beat by like double digits, even if it's just 10 points, the owner's going to really start thinking about that. Bill
Wells going to be like, why did I extend you guys? All 3 of you? Why did y'all get extended?
Like all 3 of y'all, you know?
And then lastly, you know what?
Come on, go ride the Matt Ryan trade one more time.
No. I'm gonna touch one in college. You know what? No, I'm not. Give me Matty Ice on the money line.
Come on, man. That's what I'm talking about. Matt Ryan's not.
So
Matt
yeah, for
Ryan,
Lee's.
Because you want to know why?
Huh?
Go. I was gonna say, you want to know why the Colts really need to win too?
Because they haven't won there in forever.
Well, they got Kansas City next week at home, so
yeah, you can't be
that's
0-2-1.
Yeah. So
hey, look here, Parlay P. Is there anything else you want to hit before we close it out? Because we're at like the 2-hour mark.
it was perfect, kind of. This is kind of about where we wanted to be, and we still have a whole half of football to watch.
Yeah,
I can't think of anything else. I mean, except for Go Aces.
Go Aces. Yeah. Shout out to Aja. Shout out to Kelsey. Shout out to Becky. Yeah, I'm here for y'all. And dang, Liz, you could have won a ring if you would have not quit on your team.
You wanted to move to Tinseltown because we know it wasn't about money.
No. It's about, I don't know. Who cares?
It's the WNBA, right?
Right. All right, dog. I'll holler at you.
All right. Salutations.